Hello and welcome to DevSpot. Do you have any projects you're working on where you want to add some scrolling animations? Well, Intersection Observer can do that for you. So check this out. We're going to put this together. So as you scroll down, you can see we get a nice little sliding in animation. If you find this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for checking it out. So let's go ahead and get this project set up. So we're going to start by creating a div here, which I already have set. Give that a class name of main container. And then inside that div, let's create an inner container. So give that a class of inner container. And then I added some basic text that's just going to say slide in, because that's the animation we're going to run when you scroll over the main container element. So down here, some basic CSS you can copy if you'd like. Obviously, super simple. And then here, you can see we're going to scroll down, and you can see we have this slide in element here. And this red box should slide in from the left when we're done with this. So let's go ahead and actually set up the fun part here, and that is setting up our intersection observer. So the way we're going to do that is by creating a const here, and we'll call that observer. And we're going to call new intersection observer. And this is going to take entries, and these entries are the elements that are going to be crossing the page as we scroll down. So I'll actually show you what I mean by that. And then it also takes a callback function, and this callback function, as of right now, we're just going to log these entries so that you can see kind of what's going on here. So let's log the entries. Let's get out of this mess. Okay. And now the final step of doing this is actually giving your observer an element to be looking for or observing. So in this case, we're going to look for our main container here. So let's go ahead and call our observer that we just set up, so observer, and this observer has an observe function. So go ahead and type observer.observe, and inside this observe function, you're going to want to, in this case, we'll just do a query selector, but you're going to want to add whatever element it is that you're looking for. So we'll have a query selector, and in this case, we're looking for the main container. Let's go ahead and save this and see if we get some, there we go, you can already see if we get some entries being output in our console here. So you can see when the page is loaded, we have an intersection of observer entry, and this is going to be an array of items. So if we had more items, you would have multiple elements inside this array. And there's plenty of information in here, but for the sake of keeping this video short, I'm going to just go over this is intersecting. So this is what we're going to actually use to look for to see if our element that we're looking for is actually intersecting with our page. So watch as I scroll down, we'll see another intersection observer array show up right there. And if we look inside this array, you can see that our is intersecting is now true. And if you look at our first one, it's false. So the way that this is going to work, we're going to loop through each item of this array and look for this is intersecting value. And if this value is true, we're going to add an animation class to that. So let's go ahead and set that up next. So let's close these and come back over to our observer here. So what we're going to want to do first is loop through our entries. So I'm going to use a for each here, just a handy way of looping through arrays in JavaScript. So entries dot for each, and we're going to call these an entry. Let's go with this. So we have an arrow function there, and so we're going to say if this entry that we're looping over is intersecting, here you go, then what we're going to want to do is add an animation to that. So first off, let's actually clean this up a little bit, and let's define some elements here. So let's create, we'll just call it text container. Let's call it that. And then we're going to use another query selector here. And we're going to look for the inner, actually let's look for the main container, if I can spell it correctly. Okay, so our text container there is going to be mapped to the main container. And then let's go ahead and come back down to our if statement here. So if this entry is intersecting, we're going to want to add our animation. But we don't have that animation set up yet, so let's come down to our CSS down here, and let's go ahead and create an animation class. So for this example, I think I'm just going to set the margins to change. So let's create a text animation, and we will, actually, we're going to probably want to actually create that animation first. So we're just going to use a keyframes animation, which is a simple way of doing it. and we will call this text animate. And we'll just do from and to, so from whatever to whatever. So in our from section here, let's go ahead and set the, let's just have it, we'll just keep it simple and do a margin left, and we'll start at, I don't know, negative 50%. And then we'll go to a margin of 0. So that should give us a nice little slide from the left to the right. We'll see if that works. So the text animation class here that we're going to add, let's add our animation to that. And then it's going to be text animate. And we'll just do 1 second and we'll ease. Okay. Man, my typing is terrible. Okay. So there we go. So we have our animation class set up with our animation. So we can go ahead and come back up here and inside this if statement. So if our entry that we're looking for, keep in mind that entry or that element we're looking for is this main container. If that is intersecting, let's go ahead and add our animation to this text container that we set up here. Actually, no, we want this to add to the inner container. Okay, so text container, and we're going to do class list, and we're going to add, and what did we call that? I think text animation. Okay. And then let's go ahead down here, we'll just return from that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what this does, see if it does anything. Let's save that, reload it. Okay, so here we can see, are we intersecting? No. Scroll down. Whoa, did you see that? So now we have our intersection observer here. Are we intersecting? Yes, so you can see that the animation ran. Let's scroll down again. Ah, the animation's gone. So this is actually because the text animation class is still attached. So if you wanted your website to run these animations every time you scrolled over them, you're going to want to actually remove this animation. So outside of this if statement, let's go ahead and remove this animation, and that will allow us to run that every single time you scroll by. So let's go ahead and remove text animation, save that, and yes, okay, so let's save that, we're good, reload. Let's see if that did the trick. Scroll down, see we got an animation, scroll back up, scroll down. So pretty sweet. And you can see that our is intersecting is true. Scroll back up, is intersecting is false. Simple as that. And then just one final point here to make that kind of helps with visualizing. So you can see here, so we were in the console here looking at the entries array that was returned. Let's actually look at our elements that are on our page. So you can see here, this is our inner container. This is the one that we're going to want to add our animation to. So keep your eye on this right here. So as I scroll down, you'll see this text animation class be added. Boom. So that's all it's doing. So in this function here, just adding that text animation. When it's intersecting, when intersecting is true, add that animation, and boom, you've got some basic animations going on here. And that can really kind of bring your site to the next level. So yeah, please leave a like, leave a comment on something that you'd like to learn more about. And yeah, if you found it helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So thank you very much.